Usually, the voices of children returning from school gave the atmosphere of a small village in Malaysia. However, the school holidays had already begun. No noise. All there was peace. While the other kids spent time at home relaxing or helping parents, Harry wanted to spend time in the woods. He had promised his friend Donnie to meet in the woods, where they always spent time. His sister Janet was not happy with Harry's attitude, who liked to wander around, wasting time. She was often nagging day and night, causing Harry to want more and more out of the house. Harry liked to fight his sister, causing their relationship to be like a dog with a cat. Harry insisted on going out that day. Janet warned of rumors about the headhunter. Harry also knew about the rumor. However, he did not care about it. The rumor started when a red Jeep entered the village. No one knew the owner of the Jeep. Some villagers claimed to have been chased by the individual driving the vehicle. Harry didn't believe the rumor and considered it just a way for the villagers to scare the children from going outside the house. Since childhood, Harry had been accustomed to rumors of headhunting that sometimes spread mysteriously. Some believed the appearance of the headhunter was related to a bridge or building to be reinforced through a human head planted along the foundation of the construction pillar. For Harry, despite the existence of people hired to hunt human heads, the activity no longer exists in this day and age. Everything had become a mere myth. He was sure no outsiders entered the village to hunt down human heads. It had been almost 15 minutes since Harry had waited for Donnie, who had not yet appeared. He had to be patient as he did not want to go home. He would rather spend time outside than with his strong-willed sister. Then, something caught his eye. A Jeep was parked not far from there. And it's red. Harry tried to remember the villagers who had Jeeps like that. However, his mind began to turn pessimistic. He remembered the rumor. The questions that arose began to invite feelings of horror. Harry tried to think positively, and tried to convince himself that the Jeep belonged to the villagers. Shortly afterward, he saw someone standing on the side of the Jeep. And the man just stood stiffly looking at him. Harry wanted to see the man's face, but the relatively long distance made it difficult for him to see closely. Harry waved. He hoped the man would respond to his wave as well. The man did not respond to Harry's wave and continued to stand stiffly like a statue. Harry was puzzled by the behavior of the man who kept watching him. He felt like the man was hiding something. That's why he's being watched in such a suspicious way. Harry began to feel uneasy. He decided to leave the place. When he got up from the rock, he heard something behind him. He turned around and found Donnie had finally arrived. Harry looked back at the Jeep. That person was no longer there. Harry asked Donnie about the owner of the red Jeep. Donnie never saw the Jeep. Harry told Donnie about the person who appeared on the side of the Jeep and associates it with the rumors that were spreading. Donnie suggested that they should investigate the Jeep. Harry was startled by Donnie's plan and rejected it. Donnie taunted Harry out of fear. This made Harry angry. Donnie continued to taunt him as he left Harry. Harry, who was alone in the area, saw Donnie getting further and further away from him. Concerned about Donnie's safety caused Harry to rush after Donnie. Harry reached the area where the Jeep was parked. His eyes looked around, afraid of the presence of the mysterious man. Harry peered into the Jeep. Nothing out of the ordinary looks. Harry looked for Donnie around the area but could not find his friend. Suddenly, Donnie appeared from behind and startled Harry. Harry scolded Donnie for such behavior. Donnie just laughed out loud. Harry and Donnie had been friends since childhood. Harry was very understanding of Donnie's slightly rude behavior compared to his. Yet the differences between them caused their relationship to be so close. Donnie asked Harry to join him in the woods because there was something he wanted to show. In the woods, Donnie told Harry not to make noises. Harry wondered the purpose of their entry into the forest. Donnie just kept quiet. When they reached the bushes, Donnie told Harry to lower his body. Someone was tied up in a sunny area. Harry began to feel anxious seeing the situation. He whispered questions to Donnie, who just kept quiet. Harry tried to identify the person tied up. He was sure he knew the man. Yes, the man was a resident of the village. Harry often saw him working on the farm. Harry wondered what would happen to the man. Someone appeared and approached the tied man. Harry identified the masked man as the man who appeared on the side of the jeep a moment ago. And in his hand was a sickle. Harry was shocked to see the sickle. His heart sounded as if he already knew what would happen to the bound man. However, his eyes were glued to continue to see what was happening in front of his eyes. Suddenly, the masked man raised his hand and swung the sickle towards the bound man. In the blink of an eye, the man's head detached from his body. Out of control, Harry and Donnie screamed in fear. The masked man heard their screams and immediately rushed towards the bushes, where they were hiding. Without wasting any time, Harry and Donnie immediately fled. Looking back, Harry found the masked man getting closer to them. His face clearly showed anger and thirst for human blood. Harry was a bit behind Donnie. He was already aware of Donnie's running speed and couldn't keep up with it. He began to imagine himself being the victim of the headhunter. He must have felt great pain if the sickle had split the flesh of his neck. He didn't want to die yet. He wanted to go home and meet his mother and sister. He got rid of all the negative thoughts in his mind and had the full focus on the run. Then, he was getting faster. In fact, he began to precede Donnie. He could hear Donnie's plea to wait for him. However, Harry continued his run regardless of anything else. When he got home, he immediately went in and told Janet about everything that had happened. His sister refused to believe his words. Harry tried to make his sister believe him and insisted that the police be contacted immediately. Janet started yelling and advising Harry to spend time with beneficial activities and not wasting time with Donnie. Harry was furious because Janet refused to believe his words. They started fighting. Then, Janet turned silent. Harry was puzzled by his sister's behavior, which was starting to look anxious. Janet pointed back. Then Harry turned his body to look back and see. The masked man stood in the doorway. In his hand was Donnie's head. Harry looked at Donnie's face, which showed agony at the last moment before he died. Harry couldn't believe what he saw in front of his eyes. His best friend was dead. He began to regret not waiting for Donnie when they were running away. And now he believes the headhunt exists. But it's too late.